we just got word from Drew Rosenhaus via the Pat McAfee show, literally like about, 100, 300 feet away from where we're sitting right now inside of the Hard Rock Stadium where they're setting up and doing the Pat McAfee show. We just got word from his agent himself that, Tyreek Hill met with Dolphins brass, with Chris Greer, with Mike McDaniel. He sat down. They had a heart-to-heart, a man-to-man, and he does want to stay in South Florida. It doesn't look good, though. Have you seen that video that just came out where we saw the moment that in the third quarter Jalen Waddle actually asked Tyreek Hill if he was going to, play anymore?
He looked shocked.
Yeah.
He was like, really? You going to do that?
Cheetah, you out? That's crazy. In the middle of a football game, we're talking about the National Football League. We're talking about Week 18 in the game, whereas if you win it and something else does happen, you need another team to lose, you're in the playoffs. And I get he had the wrist injury. And what Rosenhaus told McAfee and the fellas is that he injured his wrist early on this year, and he's played through it because he didn't want to miss the season. I believe he said it was even in the preseason. So I get it. He's a warrior. He wants to get out there. He wants to fight with his guys.
He's got a snap streak that he wants to keep alive.
He's got a snap streak. Exactly. You get it. You're a Josh Allen guy. He's got to keep that thing going. But you can't do that and then also afterwards in the locker room say what he said and expect us not to raise red flags. I don't care if you're Drew Rosenhaus representing Tyreek Hill or the Cheetah himself. He put himself in that position not just with his actions on the field by quitting on his team early, but also by ranting like that in the locker room, acting as if it was somebody else's fault.
Yeah, exactly. You can't – listen, if there were reports of him taking him out of the game and he declined to comment on it, just didn't give anything to the media afterwards, post-game, then there's plausible deniability. Who are we to look inside of Tyreek Hill's head? But you admitted it to the media immediately after the game that I'm too competitive to be losing these games. I'm out, bruh.
He said I'm out.
He said I'm out.
I'm too competitive, as if you are not part of the situation, as if you're not part of the problem at all. And I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying if you're a man in that locker room, one of 53, you can't separate yourself from it, especially if you're the highest paid person in that room. And again, Tyreek Hill's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, just told the Pat McAfee show that he broke his wrist during a joint practice during training camp. And now there's people trying to bring up the incident also of, remember week 1 outside of here right at Hard Rock Stadium when he was arrested and thrown on the ground, and he might have re-aggravated that wrist injury via that whole incident. So all of this is bananas, but none of this is surprising when it comes to the character that is Tyreek Hill. As great as he's been on the football field, not just for the Miami Dolphins, but for the Kansas City Chiefs beforehand, he's never come without controversy. You get the good with the bad with that guy.
Yeah, you certainly do. And it's funny because you can always bring up, like we have in the past, and many people have in the past, saying the phrase, I'm too competitive. He took the most money possible to leave the best situation possible.
Yeah.
That is point blank simple. There was not a better situation for any receiver in all of football than to be the wide receiver one of the Kansas City Chiefs when Patrick Mahomes just started his second contract.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And you could have, if you were smarter about the holistic picture, and I think that it was a two-pronged play for Tyreek Hill, now that we especially have more of the picture of what he is and who he wants to be as a man, not just a football player. I think part of it is he wanted to live in South Florida, right? I think part of it is he wanted to be in Miami, not just get paid at a high level, but also be able to enjoy the ambiance and the things that are allotted to you when you're in Miami and you're a superstar versus when you're in Kansas City and you're not the biggest personality in the room, right?
Yeah,
he's the most famous Dolphin right now.
East Coast L.A., right? The allures that bring athletes to Los Angeles, the stardom and all that. You bring that to the East Coast and you have Miami.
Same reason why Miami superstar Jimmy Butler, who wants out from the Heat, was like, well, I ain't going to Memphis. He said, well, I really want to be in a competitive situation. I know that they're one of the top teams in the West. They can really use a forward like myself. They got some dogs in that locker room. Jimmy Butler on the Grizzlies would be immediately a top 2, top 3 title contender in the NBA. He said, I ain't going to Memphis. I also ain't going to Milwaukee. There's a commonality between those two cities, and there's also a commonality between where Jimmy Butler is in Miami and the places he wants to go, like Golden State and Phoenix. It's just different.
Yeah, it is different. It's interesting. I wonder if the actual geographic location and market and the lifestyle becomes more important the older you get as a superstar athlete, or does it not because you mature more? Or maybe because you mature more, you kind of realize that winning isn't everything, and being able to wake up by the beach is also pretty nice, and not have to wake up and you're in the middle of Cleveland. Because it seems like an immature thing to want to be like, I want to be a star in Hollywood. I'm 21 years old, and send me to L.A.
Right.
That seems like a young thing to do, but no, we're seeing that it's actually an older head thing to do these days in pro sports.
Your priorities change in life. Your priorities change in life based on, for one, your situation, right? Are you a family man now? Do you have kids that are in schools that you want to keep them in? But number two, you're right. How much do you prioritize the career success versus the comfortability of your own lifestyle? And you're seeing guys in real time, especially as the money is ballooning in these major sports, in the NBA, in the NFL. If you know that you're going to get paid handsomely no matter where you go and you've already made a name for yourself in that sport, I don't understand why you wouldn't pick out where you want to be. It's almost like even in this industry, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, I would take that job. I would go to ESPN National, but that means I got to be in Bristol. How about Fox Sports in LA? How about ESPN in LA? Like it makes sense.
Yeah, you settle.
Yeah,
and it's sometimes the career takes a backseat to the life.
Location, you shouldn't. I don't want to demean anybody for prioritizing location, but if you're a guy like Tyreek Hill, again, if you're gonna prioritize location, don't act as if you're also prioritizing competitiveness. Same thing with Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, it's a shield. Like, I want to win. Like, oh, cool. Wow, competitive fire, impressive, all that. Guy's a winner. Guy can't handle losing.
Yeah.
I want him on my team. It's not that. It's a complete sham.
With the newfound news around Tyreek Hill and his broken wrist and his willingness to want to stay in Miami, and also knowing what we know about Jimmy Butler, who is most likely to be traded in 2025. They both probably had it on their vision boards when they had their vision board parties for the end of the year and they were getting ready for the new year. They were like putting up destinations they want to go to. Jimmy had a picture of Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, whereas Tyreek Hill, he likely, I mean, ain't no telling what he had a picture of. He needs to have a picture of some, I'm not going to say, maybe some birth control. But what I will say for both of them is they want out. Tyreek Hill just said through his agent that he still wants to be here. I wonder if it's a leverage play. Who's most likely to be traded out of Miami? Which one of the two superstars from South Florida is most likely to call a new destination home in 2025? Hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline right here. Even from the Capital One Orange Bowl, you can tap into Theoretically Speaking if you hop on that Baptist Health Hotline, 888-760-3776. Again, that number is 888-760-3776. The Baptist Health Hotline. Is joint pain affecting your quality of life? At Baptist Health Orthopedic Care, our team is experienced in traditional joint replacement surgery as well as new, less invasive treatments with the goal of returning you to what you love as quickly as possible. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide